I know you're a brave girl, but danger is my trade.
Then I'll learn it by myself.
What if the worst movie a Hollywood legend ever made became his secret weapon for disciplining his children? This is the story of a film so famously bad that Arnold Schwarzenegger himself uses the threat of watching it to keep his kids in line.
I give you that strength.
But why was it so bad? What really happened behind the scenes of the 1985 fantasy epic Red Sonja? In this video, we're counting down the top 10 unbelievable facts about its disastrous and chaotic production. And stick with us until the end, because the number one fact will reveal the full, hilarious story behind Arnold's ultimate punishment. Released in 1985, Red Sonja plunged audiences into the Hyborian Age, a world of sword and sorcery made famous by Conan the Barbarian. It tells the story of a fierce warrior, Red Sonja, who seeks revenge on the evil Queen Gedren for murdering her family. Starring the statuesque newcomer Brigitte Nielsen and featuring the world's biggest action star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, it had all the ingredients for a massive hit. Do you remember the first time you saw that iconic poster, or maybe caught it on a late-night movie channel? You probably thought it was a simple adventure film, but the real adventure was just trying to get it made. Let's begin the countdown.
Hold the talisman with which you created the world and all things.
Number 10. It had a different director when it started. The chaotic nature of Red Sonja's production began before a single frame was even shot. The first director announced for the project was the legendary and controversial animator Ralph Bakshi, known for adult-oriented animated films like Fritz the Cat and the 1978 animated version of The Lord of the Rings. His fantasy film Fire and Ice was a clear precursor to this world. However, Bakshi's visionary and often gritty style clashed with the producer's vision, and he was soon replaced. The director who stepped in was Richard Fleischer, a Hollywood veteran who was seen as a safer pair of hands. The irony? Fleischer had just directed Conan the Destroyer, a sequel that many fans felt lacked the raw power of the original. So from the very beginning, Red Sonja was helmed by a director already associated with a watered-down version of the very universe it was trying to expand.
Touch it. Touch it.
Number 9. It's technically one of the first Marvel movies. Long before the Marvel Cinematic Universe dominated the globe, Marvel Comics had a few, often troubled, forays onto the big screen. While most people point to Howard the Duck from 1986 as the first major Marvel theatrical film, that honor technically belongs to the world of Conan. Conan the Barbarian was the first, Red Sonja is the second. The character of Red Sonja, while originally inspired by a Robert E. Howard story, was fully developed and popularized in Marvel Comics, first appearing in Conan the Barbarian issue number 23 in 1973. Her iconic chainmail bikini and fiery personality were staples of the comics for years. It's worth noting, however, that neither Conan the Barbarian nor Red Sonja were produced by Marvel itself, but by the De Laurentiis Entertainment Group. Still, it remains a fascinating piece of trivia that connects this 80s fantasy flop to the biggest cinematic empire in modern history. Number 8. The Accidental Godmother of Xena, Warrior Princess. For all its failures, Red Sonja left an unexpected and powerful legacy. While the film itself faded into obscurity for a time, its central image did not. A tall, powerful woman with a sword, commanding the screen. A decade later, that seed would blossom into one of the most popular television shows of the 90s, Xena, Warrior Princess. The creators of Xena have often cited films like Red Sonja as a major influence. The visual of a fierce, independent female warrior, her leather and metal armor, her mastery of combat, it all owed a debt to what Brigitte Nielsen and the filmmakers had attempted. Red Sonja may have failed to execute the concept perfectly, but it helped prove there was an audience for strong, sword-wielding heroines. It walked so that Xena could run, and later, so characters like Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel could fly.
You are the master of the master.
Number 7. A financial catastrophe of epic proportions. With a massive star, a built-in fantasy audience, and a budget of nearly $18 million, a very handsome sum for 1985, Red Sonja was expected to be a surefire hit. The result was an absolute bloodbath at the box office. The movie was a critical and commercial bomb of historic proportions. In the United States, it grossed a pathetic $6.9 million. It didn't even make back half of its budget. The failure was so total that it effectively killed the sword and sorcery genre for years. It proved that just having a big star and a popular concept wasn't enough if the execution was flawed. For producer Dino De Laurentiis, it was a massive financial loss, and for Arnold, it was a public blemish on his otherwise spotless record of box office dominance.
Hold still, boy.
Boy?
Number 6. He's Conan in everything but name. Fans watching the movie were thrilled to see Arnold Schwarzenegger in his element, wearing fur boots and wielding a massive sword. His character, Lord Kalidor, is a mighty warrior who helps Sonja on her quest. He looks like Conan, he fights like Conan, and he talks like Conan. So why wasn't he just Conan? The answer is film rights. At the time, Dino De Laurentiis held the rights to the character of Red Sonja, but the rights to the Conan name itself were tied up with another company. They could use Arnold, but they could not legally call him Conan. This led to some creative marketing, especially in Europe. In Germany, the film was released as Red Sonja and Conan, while in Italy and France it was simply retitled Kalidor, pushing Arnold to the forefront. Number 5. The on-set affair that rocked Hollywood. When the cameras weren't rolling, the heat of the Italian summer was matched by the fiery chemistry between the film's two leads. Arnold Schwarzenegger and the newcomer Brigitte Nielsen began a passionate affair during the production. At the time, Arnold was in a serious relationship with his future wife, Maria Shriver. Nielsen would later write about the affair in her memoir, describing a whirlwind romance on the ancient sets in Rome. The affair added a layer of real-life drama and intensity to their on-screen interactions and became another unforgettable chapter in the wild story of Red Sonja. Number 4. The villain was offered the hero's role first. Before Brigitte Nielsen was discovered, the role of Red Sonja was offered to a very familiar face from the Conan universe, Sandal Bergman. Bergman had already made a massive impact as the fierce warrior Valeria in Conan the Barbarian, a role for which she won a Golden Globe. She seemed like the most logical choice, but Bergman turned it down. Fearing she would be typecast as the sword-wielding barbarian heroine for the rest of her life, she chose to play the villain instead, the masked Queen Gedren. It was a bold move that ultimately shaped the entire film and left audiences wondering what the movie might have been like with the original warrior woman of the Hyborian age in the lead. And now, the golden flicker moment. Number 3. The single most devastating review came from Arnold's own wife. An actor can handle bad reviews from critics, but the most cutting feedback often comes from those closest to you. For Arnold Schwarzenegger, the most brutal review of Red Sonja came from the woman standing right next to him at the movie's premiere, his then partner, Maria Shriver. As the story goes, they sat through the entire film. The lights came up, and Maria turned to Arnold and delivered a line more devastating than any sword blow. If this movie doesn't kill your career, nothing will. It was a blunt, darkly humorous assessment of the cinematic train wreck they had just witnessed. That a film could be so bad that your own partner questions your professional survival is a truly special kind of failure. Do you agree that this is the golden flicker moment? Number 2. The star was found on a magazine cover 8 weeks before filming. The search for the perfect Red Sonja was a grueling year-long odyssey for Dino De Laurentiis. With only 8 weeks to go before filming, he still had no star. Then, by pure chance, Dino De Laurentiis saw a fashion magazine with a 21-year-old Danish model named Brigitte Nielsen on the cover. At over 6 feet tall, she was the living embodiment of the character. Nielsen, who had virtually no acting experience, was immediately flown to Rome, given a screen test, and was cast on the spot. She went from being a relatively unknown model to the title star of a major Hollywood production in a matter of days, a whirlwind casting decision that is almost unheard of in the industry. And number 1, the cameo that became a co-starring nightmare. Arnold Schwarzenegger's involvement was supposed to be a simple cameo, a one-week shoot as a favor to producer Dino De Laurentiis. But 1 week turned into 4. Arnold was on set far longer than anticipated, filming more and more scenes. The shock came later. When he saw a rough cut, he was horrified. Through clever editing and crafty camera angles, the producers had expanded his small cameo into a full-blown co-starring role. He felt tricked and betrayed. The experience was so bad that it caused him to terminate his 10-year contract with De Laurentiis. And it was this disastrous, frustrating, and unwanted starring role that led to the legendary story we opened with. He truly considers it one of the worst films he's ever made, which is why he jokingly confessed, "I'd tell them if they get on my bad side, they'll be forced to watch Red Sonja 10 times in a row." It's the ultimate punchline to a production that was a joke from the beginning. From a star being tricked, a leading lady being discovered on a magazine cover, to a box office implosion and a legacy it never intended to have, the story of Red Sonja is more epic than the film itself. It's a perfect Hollywood tale of ambition, chaos, and accidental influence. If you discovered something new today, illuminate our day by clicking like and subscribe to Golden Flicker so you never miss another story from behind the scenes of Hollywood. What movie or actor do you want to see here on the next video? Let us know in the comments.